Welcome to the Audaci-Tea, the podcast by women for women. And as y'all know, we're always so happy to have you here. And we want to give a big shout out to our newest Patreon Tea VIP subscribers. We have Courtney Murphy. We have the Steph Curry, apparently. We have a bad mama jamma, Meredith LeBeau, Devin Carey, and Natalie Allen.
Oh, I like that. Welcome.
I think that's the most names I've had to read
It
off
is,
yet.
I think.
Nice. I'm so happy our Patreon is growing. It just seems like only yesterday we just got that up and running.
I know.
It is an amazing and vibrant community, and we love y'all.
Yes, we do.
Woohoo. Don't forget to check out our chats. I'm always on there.
Yeah.
Gwen is the one that's mostly running, and then whichever other ones of us like are responding, we will try to sign our name, but we don't always remember, so please forgive us. Yeah, if you're not sure who you're talking to, ask. I know my husband's been in there answering questions too.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so funny.
he's just trying to help out.
Wait, what questions? Now I want to know. I'm invested.
It was a specific, it would like had to do with like how to raise boys, and so he was like giving his life experience. He did call me and ask, by the way, permission to respond. So
Oh no, we love him.
As he should.
Yes, yeah, he got the clearance. So
It's so funny.
today we're going to be talking about signs of porn addiction in men. You young ladies, I do not envy you. Having to date right now, having to be out in this dating pool of men, these modern men, dare I say, it is kind of a minefield out there as far as porn addiction goes, and just overall the effects of porn consumption on young men have yet to be really studied from the perspective of how it affects women, and we just don't have a whole lot of research on it other than how it affects men's peens so far, or their brains.
Yeah.
But either way, I think it's a very important subject to talk about, so we are very excited to cover that. Gwen, the queen of lists, has another amazing list for us, and this episode is going to be a two-parter in which we go over all the 38 points, and then it will also be posted as a VIP blog, so keep an eye out for that. And if you want to see the whole list before we cover it in both parts, then feel free to sign up for a VIP membership. But before we get to that, let's spill some tea. What's been on your mind this week, ladies?
Did y'all see another plane caught fire?
Yeah.
This one was actually like close to home to me. It was at the Bush airport. This one was like circulating on social media. So like it was on Twitter and it was on TikTok of all the people that were on that plane yelling at the pilot to stop because the right wing of the airplane caught fire and it was smoking, and all the people were like screaming like stop, stop, stop. And then finally like everybody got to go on the emergency exit and use the slide. And so everybody was TikToking them going down the slide.
Oh my God.
But that's scary. But I also don't think it's a coincidence that, you know, in the era where everybody is now trying to plan an exit strategy out of the country, all these planes are catching on fire.
I didn't think
an
about
interesting
that.
angle. Yeah.
Yeah, because like there's like some hashtags that are going around of like AMER exit, so like Ameri exit. Like leaving America. And so it's a place where people are kind of gathering to share information on how they were able to like flee the country. So like people moved to like Canada or like Mexico, Italy, Ireland, all these other places, and just like kind of sharing their experiences on how they were able to do it, what it took, like the costs and things like that, and if you still had to pay taxes. So it's been really informative. I learned if you were to immigrate to Australia, but you have pre-existing health conditions, they may or may not accept you. They see it as like a strain on their healthcare system in Australia, so they might just like kick you out and tell you to go back because they don't want to have to pay for your healthcare expenses. Yeah, sorry.
He's co-signing.
Okay. Yeah.
He's co-signing.
Yeah, he's co-signing. The outrage.
Yeah, I have seen some people say that they might start like grounding planes and stuff like that. I don't know like why they were saying that, but it scared me. It's just really scary to watch our country be taken apart like bolt by bolt, and just seeing the effects of it in real time and so quickly. And I know a lot of us, myself included, said that it would happen quickly, but damn.
Right.
For real.
Did we think it was going to be this quick?
Collapse of like all these planes catching fire and falling out of the skies or just crashing into
Federal
each other.
employees getting messages like, oh, you quit, like sign on or quit, basically pledge your soul to this or quit.
Yeah.
Really, really scary stuff, you guys.
Yeah.
really scary stuff. There's so much that they're trying to put into motion while all of this chaos is happening so that we don't notice, so that it just catches up to us all at once. And this is called Shock Doctrine. I'm sure a lot of people have heard that term recently. And that's exactly what dictators and people that are trying to essentially start some kind of a overhaul of the current system, but not in a good way, right? When they're talking about how the Constitution is unconstitutional, that should scare people because they are saying those words. They are saying that the Constitution is unconstitutional. So it's all happening really quickly, and they're hoping that by doing all of this at once, it will sort of leave people unable to respond to everything at once.
Yeah.
Even though I will say we are seeing some good responses. You know, from what I've seen, people are boycotting Target because they are rolling back their DEI policies. And Costco, as somebody that has been pressured to roll them back and has refused, is actually seeing a huge spike in memberships and attendance in general. I was seeing people post TikToks from their local Costcos, especially in like red states.
Yeah.
And yeah, people are in the Costcos, y'all, like, and the Targets are empty.
Do you think they're going to fold?
No, I think that because like there's just been so much like positive PR from everybody that are saying like, hey, don't shop where they wouldn't hire you. That now that, you know, that they're getting more people in, like, why would they stop now? Like when they had that march in that Costco with all those people there, like that was such good positive publicity for them that I think it doesn't make any sense for them to roll back on that.
I agree, but I didn't think that the TikTok guy was going to fold either, and he folded. So that's why I'm like, I hope they don't, but I'm not getting too excited about it because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm just guessing that the companies that went along with it either already wanted to anyway, or they were coerced, like, we're not going to give you this, or you're not going to be able to do that if you don't follow this. So, because I do believe there are companies that didn't want to get rid of their DEI, but they just did it to appease the administration. I do believe that. But there was a lot of them that probably were just itching to this whole time. But I just wonder, like, what they're going to do to retaliate, because they're not going to take this line down. So, like, if people keep going to Costco and Costco ends up being, like, the number one chain or whatever that's doing best, I know that Trump and whoever else he has, his minions, I like to call them his minions, they're going to find a way to, like, make them pay or make them suffer. They're going to retaliate in some way. And so I just wonder if the retaliation that's very likely to happen, in my opinion, is going to make them fold, or are we going to see, you know, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's only one way to tell, but based on the price of that hot dog, I would say tough titties. Like,
Real.
they refuse.
So real.
I mean, how many times have they been told about the hot dog and they refuse to do it?
Oh my God.
The man is
CEO.
literally like, over my dead body. No, I think he actually said, I will effing kill
sign.
you.
Well, that's a good sign then.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my God.
they held out this long on the hot dog.
They know it's considered like
imagine.
a loss, but they know that like that's one of the main reasons people get the membership is for their really cheap food court. Because when you're in a pinch like that.
And not only that, but didn't they just raise the wages for almost all of their employees to like $30 an hour?
Are you serious?
I think so.
I don't think they're hurting for money. I think they're playing with fuck you money at this point.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Wow.
'Cause
Then I'm happy.
Yeah,
Good.
me too. Yeah.
They're an international company.
And it's almost like they're kind of taunting them to be like, go ahead and show your whole ass. Like, go ahead and try to bully us into this, because then everyone will see that this administration is not just like leaving it up to the states, or like it's not about freedom. It's like, no, go ahead and force us.
Right.
Like, I hope that it's more of a taunt. Maybe I'm being too hopeful.
I hope
but
so too.
Costco, if you're hearing this,
We stand
love
with you.
We stand with
love
you.
Costco.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Christmas gifts that I've ever gotten was when my family went to Korea to visit some family. They brought me back a Costco bag from Korea, because there's Costco's in Korea. And so they have
that's
their
amazing.
own like reusable bags. And so they brought me back one of those. But it's so big and I can put my entire life in there essentially.
Oh
my gosh.
And so I use it for everything. And it's the nicest gift, I think. Because like you went all the way to Korea and then you went to Costco and you immediately thought of me because you know how much I love Costco. And so that just meant the world to me. It was so sweet.
You hear that, Costco?
Yeah, I've been a Costco fan since before I moved to America because my dad's sisters, my aunts, they would send us like care packages to Ukraine from America, and it would just be a box full of like Costco stuff, like the chocolate covered raisins, the like peanut butter, the big jars. Like it's very rare to see things in like bulk, obviously, in Ukraine, like, or any other like less kind of, at that time we were less developed of a country and didn't have as much imports and exports, and we definitely didn't have a Costco, but it was always amazing to be like, wow, like this is what America's like. They have all the candy, they have all the candy they want, all the like, I don't know, I always associate it with positive things too. So shout out to Costco.
I hope Costco's listening.
Shout out, my tea is shout out to Beyonce for finally getting that album of the year. The tour's announced that I'm scared to fly to any of the cities in, but you know, we're just gonna have to, I feel like I can be brave for Beyonce, but I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, shout out to her. Finally got her album of the year. I'm really happy. Finally. I know there's disagreement on which album deserved it the most. I don't really care. I think they've all been great. And I think she is just a standard of excellence that very few artists will reach in their lifetime. That's my tea. I just had to say it.
Have you seen that thing with Selena Gomez when she was like kind of crying on social media about the ICE situation? Yeah. But have you also seen that the White House put out like a statement on like social media just basically bullying her into silence?
That was scary. That was really scary.
That, like, she's a private citizen. She is a citizen of the United States. Like,
yeah.
Why were they bullying her?
They're basically making fun of her for crying about the deportation crisis.
They got all the people who had like their kids assaulted and murdered by immigrants just tell her to shut up. Like the parents of Josephine Nangare, the girl that died like not too far from where I am right now. They got her parents on there to officially make a statement telling her to basically shut up and that like, your tears are hollow. Yeah.
Well, that don't make sense.
That does not make sense. People do bad things every day. White men commit heinous crimes every single day.
So you're showing sympathy to someone's daughter who was killed and the people want you to be quiet? I don't understand that.
No, she's showing sympathy for the people being deported and taken back to like Mexico or Colombia or all these other places.
Right.
And she was just kind of on there, you know, the point that they were trying to make was like, it seemed hollow because like you're a billionaire. So like, why wouldn't you just be, you know, using your money to help people and all that? And I'm to a point, like I kind of understand, but at the same time, like, what do you really,
what can she really
realistically expect her? Exactly. What do you realistically expect her to be able to do? She is one person.
The federal government is working with way more than $1 billion.
Right.
That's who she would be up
more
against, you dummies. Like, that's so crazy. And Sovereign, I think what they did was they got the parents of somebody who was, you know, killed or something by an illegal immigrant. And they basically were like, these are the people you're protecting, Selena Gomez.
Oh.
That's why.
I get that.
Yeah.
And so, but that's crazy because like, okay, kick all the white men out of the United States by that metric. Like,
exactly.
Kick them all out. I don't understand. Like,
yeah, they just think that she was just crying about, you know, the rapists and the actual illegal immigrants and not the ones who are just having their families taken away and like the more heinous parts of it and just screaming at her to just shut up and sit down and, you know, just make your music. Don't get involved in politics. And like, that's our government telling that to a citizen of the United States. Like that should be really, really scary. Using their national platform to silence a celebrity into compliance.
Yeah, so I know y'all seen that clip of Kanye's wife and him, I guess on some red carpet event or whatever, and she was naked. People might tell you she had on a see-through dress, but like Gwen said, it was basically just like a stocking that she rolled up over her body, a sheer see-through stocking. And she had to keep
pulling it down, and I was
like... she was naked. You saw everything. She had on no underwear, no bra, nothing. And you know what's crazy? Had she done that and she was just her own celebrity and by herself, I don't even know if I would have been that bothered by it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But because she was next to Kanye and he went on this whole thing about his wife, Kim, his ex-wife, Kim, needs to cover herself up because now he has a church and a Sunday service or whatever. And I don't want her dressing this way anymore, even though that's how you married her. But now all of a sudden you want her to change. And that's degrading and all of that. But now you get married to a second woman and it's perfectly okay. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't recall ever seeing, and I could be wrong, I don't think I've ever seen Kim Kardashian wear something like that. Where she's showing her cooch, showing tits, everything. Like ass cheeks. Ass crack. Because you saw everything. So I'm confused at the hypocrisy. Because it's like, okay, your first wife and mother of your kids was not good enough to do it. But now, is it because she doesn't have kids with you? Now it's okay for you to flaunt her around?
It's because she's her lookalike. Because he couldn't humiliate Kim K. So he gets a lookalike of Kim K and humiliates her instead.
I also think it's just about power, you know, like he didn't like that Kim was empowered through showing her body. And so he was like, you need to cover up. But when it's time to use a woman to put attention on himself, he's like, you need to take your clothes off so that I can have attention. And I feel like he is almost, you know what I mean? It's kind of the inverse of that. It's like, you're not famous, so I can actually use you as a prop. Like Kim wasn't so into being used as a prop. Like she would let him dress her and stuff, but like not so, like he couldn't, even if he tried, it would still be Kim Kardashian. Like he tried to humiliate her multiple times and it just didn't hit the same. So now he gets this woman that nobody knows who she is, and now he's like, it's like the inverse of it. It's like, no, you need to take your clothes off. I wanted her to cover up.
That's horrible.
Because that would disempower her in my eyes. But this, you know, you just being a regular citizen and people would know that you're taking your clothes off because I want you to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And she doesn't look happy. She looks like she's being made to do this. I don't see any enthusiasm in her eyes at all. I feel bad for her. I hope she's not getting abused. I'm not saying she is. I don't know. But I'm hoping that's not the case.
She really definitely has a very absent, distant look in her eyes. Like she does not look like she's enjoying any part of it.
It
like
almost
at any
looks like
point
she's
that I've
just
seen
disassociating the whole time.
Because it does. That's exactly
it's never
the
at
word.
her behest. It's never like her by herself doing these things. It's always next to Kanye. Kanye is somewhere in the vicinity making sure she's doing what he tells her to do, is what I think. And she's never like smiling with her teeth and like she's doing this like this was her idea. Like I think she's just doing it because, you know, maybe this was part of the contract that she signed with him when they got married or something. And I could be completely wrong. These are all just theories.
Yeah.
So
the crazy thing about that too is we understand, especially in the Black community, that Kim Kardashian got famous for dealing with Black dudes essentially that were rich, that were, you know, had money or whatever. And her sisters, Kylie and Khloe, also date Black men and athletes, you know, Black men with money or whatever. And so they had Tyga basically told Kylie to pretty much bite off the image of Black women in order for her to become popular. And they did it. And that's why one of the bigger reasons why they became super popular, especially in the Black community. And I think Kim saw Kanye as a sucker to be licked, basically. She had her kids with him. I think she probably really did love him at one point and cared about him or whatever. And she just didn't like him after a while. She realized who he was and he wasn't going to change. So she dipped out. But I think Kanye saw her as the prize more than she saw him as the prize, for sure. And I think now it's playing out with she left. She has a lot of power. Even though he's a Black man with a lot of money, she's a white tea woman or Armenian, whatever, white tea woman with more power and more influence that could literally make him disappear if she really wanted to, right? And so he saw her as the prize. So it's like now, you know how men are when women file for divorce and they go their own way. I feel like he's using his new wife to, like you said, humiliate her in the way that he wanted to humiliate Kim. But his self-esteem to me is so low that he needs women that are not Black to draw attention in. Because it's so hard to explain, but like if he really felt good about himself, he wouldn't need to do all of these antics in the first place. But it's like he has to use white women or other race women or whatever for attention. And it's so sad that she's falling for it. I'm in my mind, I'm like, I'm hoping she's getting some kind of money for this, that she's got money, putting money away, that she doesn't have to spend. Out of this. Like, what the like, he is literally using her. This man does not give a fuck about her. I don't care what nobody say. You will never convince me that a man cares about a woman and he wants her walking around stark naked for the entire world to see. Like, most men, even controlling men who are a red flag, are more possessive than that. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, most men don't want their woman walking around stark. She was completely naked. Like, and he was okay with it. He told her to turn around. I'm sure the way she posed, he told her to do that. Like, she didn't do that on her own.
All this it's crazy. Porn addiction to me. It just screams that in a normal person, you know, this would strike as very odd, very shameful. But, you know, porn is like all you watch. It's like all you do, where it's like all you're around. None of this stuff registers as like abnormal.
Nope.
So,
nope.
I just think it comes from a porn addiction. That's just my theory.
I'm really sitting here thinking about, like, he's like basically pimping her out.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah. It's very scary. And the fact too that he took her to an event that they were explicitly not invited to.
And they were around kids.
I didn't know that.
And there was a kid there. And so that's just humiliating and scary.
So that was definitely planned. If he wasn't invited to it,
that was definitely for publicity.
That was definitely
losing it. So they weren't invited, and then they just like pulled this as a stunt and then walked out. But they were not invited to that event. So just weird behavior. I feel very, very sorry for her.
Has anybody ever even heard the sound of her? I don't think I've ever even seen her talk before. Am I tripping?
No, I don't think you have. I think that there's been other disturbing things that they've done in public, like that they're banned now from riding like gondolas in Italy now or something.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and allege that this was not her idea, but she was definitely giving him head in public, like on one of those gondola. Yeah. And so they've been banned from that.
What if plot twist? What if she's the mastermind behind all of this? Dum, dum, dum.
I just don't see how that benefits her at all. Yeah, I really don't.
I know. I'm just grasping at straws for hope for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God.
I hope she's okay. I just hope she's okay. But yeah, so this is a fantastic segue into our main segment, and we'll see y'all after the break. All right, y'all, welcome back. And we're going to jump right into this list. I'm going to have Gwen start us off, but we're going to take turns reading the list items. And if any of y'all have commentary, please feel free to add as we go.
All right. So this was a highly anticipated list from our comments on YouTube. And so I was just more than happy to just put all these together. And so when I was doing the research on this, I was watching like YouTube videos from therapists who specialize in this kind of stuff, but I couldn't find anything that was just like uniquely helpful. And so I really had to go back and dig through a lot of my memories from dealing with men who were addicted to porn and like my friends who had relationships with men who were addicted to porn, and just kind of like finding what those red flags were that we just might have missed. And hopefully this list can help other women out there identify these flags that were definitely either are way too normalized in our culture or we just kind of willfully ignore it because we expect and we hope better from men.
I also just want to say that a lot of times when I talk about being married, a lot of women get, this idea that I'm encouraging young women to like go out there and even date or get married just because I am. And I know that's a sentiment that can be common amongst creators like me that are seen as 4B adjacent, but we ourselves are married. And I just want to say that the young men today are different than the young men that we were dating at the time that when we got married, or they're different than men our age that we would be dating. And so I just want to put this disclaimer that this is a recent phenomenon. It hasn't always been like this. Yes, men have always over-sexualized women. There have, pretty much as far back as we can think, there have always been pornographic adjacent images or magazines or publications or whatever. We are talking about a whole different thing. We're not talking about anything that is ethical. We're not talking about anything that is, you know, C to C, like customer to customer kind of thing. We're not talking about these things. We're talking about the literal influx, the torrent of pornography that young children, as young as some parents give their kids a phone at 6, 7, 8 years old. And that is when they first become exposed to this kind of stuff. And so we are dealing with a different generational like phenomenon here. I just want to make that very, very clear. The men that I grew up with did not have this kind of access, did not have this kind of just unlimited, free, any category you can think of. The kind of things that are popular right now were not popular when I was younger. So I don't know. I just felt like putting that disclaimer out there because young women, you are not crazy. What you're dealing with is unprecedented and it needs to be talked about. So that's why we're talking about it. Sorry, Gwen, please go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's just that I remember porn used to be such like this shameful, hidden away thing. Like you had to be over a certain age to access like video. Like this is back when Blockbuster was still a thing, right? And like they would kind of have adult films, but it would just be behind a curtain. And you'd have to show your ID and then you go behind the curtain and there would be like rated R, rated X type films that you could have access to, but only if you were the legal age. And porn never used to be like 2 clicks away, but that is all it is right now. It might not even be 2 clicks. It might even just be like just 1 click away, given today's exponential rise in technology. And also the internet wasn't as omnipresent as it is now. The internet travels with us. Whereas back in the day, the internet was a place you had to go to. Like it was a computer in your dad's office and you had like the chunky PC and monitor set up and it was just there. And it also took a long ass time for the internet to like boot up and it would scream at you. Which when I tell kids that, like they look at me like I'm insane, but we used to have something called dial-up, but I digress. Yep. So like porn, it wasn't as ubiquitous as it is today. I feel like it is very much different. And I don't blame young women at all for, you know, thinking that porn is just overwhelming because it is. It's in everything.
It really is. And it's been affecting these young men's behavior so much to the point where I cannot in good faith recommend young women dating like casually or whatever without a whole lot of vetting, especially for these signs right here, these porn addiction signs, because most men that you know, most men that you will see in day-to-day life, they have seen porn. 99% of men have seen porn. 99% of men have looked at it and, you know, and a lot of women have too. So I'm not, you know, denying that. It's just very pervasive in all of our lives. But most of the men that you're dealing with have seen it, probably watch it on a regular basis. And that is, we live in unprecedented times as far as that. So,
yep. And without further ado, here come my really extensive list that took me the past all but like 2 or 3 weeks to put together for y'all. So here it is.
The Lord's work.
We got number 1. He checks out other women in front of you to your face. He's counting on you to either be cool with it or not make an extreme fuss about his disrespect. He checks out other women because women are just body parts to him, not people. That is rule number 1 in porn addiction. He does not see women as people, and this will become more apparent as we go down the list.
Yep. And I've heard a lot of young women describe this as dead eyes or porn eyes, and I couldn't agree more. I have seen it, and it looks very uncanny. It's almost gross. Like they don't know how to look at you. But yeah, there's something, they're like lacking literal like movement in their eyes and like life in their eyes.
All right, who wants to read number 2?
I'll do it. So his For You page will look obvious. The dancing girls, half naked cosplay girls, even the drawings. If it's all of that, all 3, you better run. If it's less obvious, you can always check his Reddit history or his WhatsApp, Messenger, and Snap when he leaves his phone unattended. Gwen says, girl to girl, you should be doing that anyways, even if you don't suspect a porn addiction. Absolutely. My justification for that is the Giselle Pellico case, because they would have never found out about his fucked up shit until the police went through his phone. Absolutely. And any normal man will not have reservations about his phone around you, like to a weird point where like, don't touch it or like, don't answer it. Like my husband, I don't know, 2-3 weeks into us seriously seeing each other was like, by the way, like, I do not care what you want to go through my phone, whatever you want to see on there, that's totally fine. And he didn't even have a smartphone until we had been married for like 3 years. Oh, yeah, so I'm telling y'all, yeah, we're dealing with a whole different breed here. So, but yeah, definitely check his phone, because a lot of men don't really expect you to, or they use like privacy as justification for hiding things that you should know about, that are part of their character on their phone. You should know some of these things. And honestly, whatever way you find out, it's better that you find out rather than being like ethical. Because a lot of the shit these men are hiding is nowhere near ethical.
Not
so
even
it doesn't,
close.
You're playing a different game.
So number 3, he may either be a religious fanatic that is super concerned with the way women dress in public, or an extreme leftist that is all for sex work because it's empowering, according to them, right? The way they say it. Not much in between. Both of them do not respect women or see us as humans. Ask his opinion on porn early in the dating phase to find out which one you have.
Ooh. This was a good one. Like, this is such a good list, because it's so true. Whenever men just can't, because again, the point is they don't see you as human. Yep. So they're like, no, it's binary. It's 1 or 0. It's black and white. You're either a whore or you're, a prude. And either way, they're just mad. They're just mad.
Yeah, they just see you as like a doll to kind of manipulate and control. And this goes to the Madonna whore complex, which we can kind of talk about later. But number 4, my personal fave, he has a Playboy tattoo or a logo on any of his clothing or jewelry. It can also be like a Pornhub logo nowadays too. This might be more common. This might be more common in boys aged from like 17 to 25. After that, that is such an extreme ick. Like, imagine a 30-plus-year-old dude with a receding hairline wearing a Playboy bunny beanie. Like, my pussy just made the window shut down noise. It just is such a turn off for me. Like, I can't, like, I had a friend who, I went to a birthday party of hers, right? And it was at like a hookah bar, and we were all kind of like having a great time. And this guy that she was dating, that she wanted us all to meet, she made a point of us like coming just so we could meet this guy that she'd been dating. He showed up like 15 minutes late wearing a Pornhub logo hat, like snapback on his head. Yeah. Wow. I kind of lost so much respect for my friend after that. But like, I just kind of pulled her to the side and I was just like, girl to girl, are you okay? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? And she like dismissed me and like made it out to be like, no big deal. We're not really friends anymore, but
good for you.
But I still hope that she's okay, because like that, I don't know, I feel like that was so many red flags wrapped up into one just hat. I don't know. And like the fact that like we were all like 90% of us girls, like one other girl had brought her boyfriend, but the rest of us, we were all girls, and we were all just like there for her. And he just shows up with like I watch porn. Like, can't you tell by this hat? Like, I watch porn. Porn is great. And like, just basically advertising his addiction in front of everyone. And it's just, I don't know, it made me really uncomfortable.
It just looks douchey. I don't know. You guys were like kind of roasting them earlier.
Like, was that like, what was that supposed to
you can
accomplish?
tell he's a douche if he has like that Playboy, or the Playboy ears, or the naked lady that's like sitting down.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called.
The mud flaps with the naked lady.
Yeah. You can just tell he's just not
truck
like,
nuts.
Truck nuts.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's like a thing here.
It's all the same like orbit. I don't know.
Yeah. It's the Venn diagram of like men who are porn addicted. It's just like one big circle of like the red pill, the conservative. Like, it's just it's all low vibrational.
Yes,
stuff.
The low vibrational Venn diagram. Let's go. It's a perfect circle.
I love it.
All right, we got he frequents booty bars and restaurants. Self-explanatory. Y'all know the ones. There's Twin Peaks, Hooters, Bombshells, etc. Even if he goes with you, and as a woman, you look at girls too, quote unquote, we need you to know that he does not respect you. And being the chill girlfriend will not shield you. We said what we said. A man that respects you wouldn't be going to these places at all. Thanks. Yeah, because it's weird. You don't take him to like, what's the equivalent of that for women? Like, I don't understand. Chippendales.
Yeah.
Like, how often do y'all fly out to Chippendales so that you can like look at other men's abs and junk and butts and pecs and biceps?
Maybe like a gay strip club, but that's about all I can really. It's still not, I feel like, equivalent.
No, not equivalent at all.
Oh my God. And if you were to even ask a man to go,
Oh yeah,
they will like look at you sideways.
oh yeah.
Unless they secretly enjoy it. I mean, it's a whole nother can
Well,
of
they
worms.
never tell you that.
Exactly, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's why I'm all for going through his Reddit history.
Yeah, because they hide this stuff.
They do.
They lie about it.
Yeah.
When you go through his Reddit, check his comments history, check his posts. You can scroll through like his communities, like what all he's like subscribed to, and find out that way.
Check those cash apps. See if they sending them to Sophie
App,
Rain.
yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is a good one. Yes,
Yep.
Cash Apps and Venmo history.
Credit card history.
I love it.
So if he goes to a strip club at any point in your relationship or his previous ones at all, even for a friend's birthday, it was still a choice. Take that how you will. Even if he says he didn't even enjoy himself there. Girl, he still went. So no one was holding a gun to his head. They use that a lot. I mean, I went, but I mean, that shit was whack. Or, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
like,
everyone wanted to go. So, like, all the other guys wanted to go. So, like, I have to go.
They'll
I'm not going to
downplay
be
it.
there.
Yeah. Stop it.
Mm-mm.
I'm so glad y'all caught that because like there are just so many times where I've caught men in a lie saying that like, oh, I didn't even want to go. And then turns out it was their fucking idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7, he makes juvenile jokes past the age of like 21. So he'll moan in casual settings or say like, that's what she said. Or any like phallic humorisms. He is overall very low vibrational to be around, meaning like they can't really have intelligent conversations around you because all that's going on up there is big booty Latinas and when's dinner? Tell me I'm wrong.
No,
I can't. And I've been like, the jokes too, it's actually much more serious than we give it credit to because it's part of a much bigger problem. It trickles up into, once you kind of follow it to its logical conclusion and we get to the point where, oh no, a woman was murdered. What could we have done? We never think about not make dirty jokes about women that make them feel unsafe in public or call other men out for treating women like objects in public or making jokes that treat women like objects in public. Because that when you fail to root that out, because once again, we don't make jokes like this about men. We really don't. As women, as men, we don't. It's always women that are the butt of these jokes. Yeah. And it is terrible. And that is what leads to the overall disrespecting of women as a society. And then the eventual discarding of women by men because men view women as jokes, objects, and body parts to laugh about. That's where we come down to. And then people say, oh, why didn't anybody do anything? It starts with this shit. And if your boyfriend, husband, whatever is making these types of jokes, just be careful. Just be careful of how he relates to women to the point where, like, to me, making a that's what she said joke in a room is extremely inappropriate because then all the eyes and all the minds go to the woman in the room. Yeah. That's what she said. Oh, now we're all picturing the woman bent over or with something in her mouth or with something in her throat. That's violence. I didn't ask for that. You know, who is the woman in the scenario? Who is the she in the scenario? Men never put themselves in these vulnerable positions. Like, oh, something is stuck in my throat. That's what he said. Oh, my butt hurts. That's what he said. Men don't joke like that. And neither do women because women know that it's not fun to be joked about like that. So don't encourage this. Don't laugh about it. It's not funny. I hate it, actually. He knows too many porn stars' names or OnlyFans content creators. Yeah, absolutely. That is probably not a man you're talking to. God forbid. That man probably hasn't left his basement in a while, but if by chance he has crawled out of there and managed to trick you into talking to him, and then he starts naming off all these people, just send him right back from whence you got him.
Right to the basement. Mm-hmm. Number 9, he wants to pay for you to get a boob job or a BBL or any bodily alteration that would please him and potentially put your life in danger.
I don't think y'all know this about BBLs, but there is a main like vein or artery that's like next to your thigh or your buttocks. Mm-hmm. And if you were to even accidentally inject like silicone up there, like it could stop your heart
instantly.
It's one of the more life-threatening cosmetic surgeries out there.
It is.
I mean, breast augmentations are kind of up there too, but with technology and certain policies put in place to kind of minimize capsular contraction or anything like that. Because nowadays we have like gummy bear implants that are more suited to counteract those. Whereas before we just had silicone or like saline for that. And that would be a little bit more dangerous to have in your body. But I know for sure that BBL in like the cosmetic industry, that's one of the more scary procedures you can get. Even like women go overseas for this, so they don't even stay in the United States.
Right.
And if you were to stay in the United States, like you could sue for malpractice. But if you go to places like Turkey or somewhere to get this done, you cannot sue those doctors for malpractice. Like those rules, their laws don't apply to you, and that's if they have those laws at all.
Right. I don't try to shame anybody for getting work done. Like people got the right to do what they want to do. But I just always say, if you're going to do this, please do it for yourself. Because if a man is talking about he wants to change this or change that, I just don't think he cares about you that much. He only cares about his sexual pleasure, and that's it. So if a guy is like, you should get a boob job or you should get, just know, you should probably just get rid of him. If they want that from you, it's because they want to make you a real life porn star. Somebody
sex doll.
Whatever their fetish is or whatever, that's most likely what they like to watch when they're watching porn. Whatever they're trying to make you be, that's what they're into. And they want you to be a real life doll. So it's not about you. You're not going to satisfy him. You're not going to make him faithful. He's just doing it or wants you to do it for his own pleasure. And that's it. He don't care about anything else. He doesn't care about your health. He doesn't care about anything. So that's a huge red flag.
Huge. Absolutely. And men really do get off on this. That's why there's like entire feeder communities, right? Where they're paying women to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like men just get off on that, on having any wave of effect on a woman's life. Like they will pay for that. So it's just a thing for them. I don't know. Super weird.
It don't even look good when women get them too big for their body and they don't move.
So that fetish is called bimbification.
It's called what?
And men get off on that. Bimbification. Where they turn you into like a living bimbo doll, where they pay you to get these like obscene, lip injections so your lips look like blown up, and like you wear like these fuck me palms and like itty bitty crop tops with boob jobs and like
they're trying to be like a Hugh Hefner.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
to the point where we have a term for it. Like it's so depraved.
Bimbification is like crazy, diabolical. I never heard of that.
Seriously.
I never heard of that until now. Oh my God.
Me neither, but I'm not surprised. Like I have like picked up on that because especially like old men like to do this. They'll divorce their first wife and then they'll do this to like a 25-year-old.
Elon Musk is accused of being a bimbofier because he forces all of his wives to get like bleach blonde hair.
That's right, he does.
Yep.
Oh my
Allegedly.
God. That's a sign. If he wants you to go blonde, I feel like that's a low key. It might be a beige flag. So like that's a case by case basis, but it might just start as like you getting blonde hair.
I don't know. Why is he having any say of your hair? Like he really wants you to go blonde. Like weird. Just date somebody who's already blonde. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
It's they get off on the whole controlling you and like dressing you up to be whatever they want. So are we on? 10. His demands in the bedroom become more extreme over time. Do not be the frog in the boiling pot of water if you notice this sign early. I cannot stress that enough. So like it might just start as like doing like a consensual, non-consensual thing where you like simulate rape. Or it could be like a BDSM thing, or it could be, just like some more over the top stuff than what you're already doing. And it just kind of escalates from that. It doesn't just stop at just doing one thing. Like it might just be one thing for like a few months and then he continues down this like porn rabbit hole and like he demands something else that's like a bit more extreme, because that's how these pornographic websites capitalize on getting you to pay for this stuff, because you have to pay to get access to the more extreme things over time. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, or they just, they kind of put you down that pipeline. A lot of it you don't even have to pay for, access to the extreme stuff. Like if you really look at it, like you can type in just about anything and it will come up for free. And I feel like a lot of men, they'll get a girlfriend when they weren't expecting to even have a girlfriend, because getting a girlfriend for them wasn't so much about connecting with a person or, like finding a partner or anything like that. It was always about sex because they were raised on porn. And like, that's what a lot of men view as emotional vulnerability, by the way. They'll say that that's sex. They'll be like, it's hard to connect emotionally otherwise. unless we're having sex. So a lot of men have a lot of confusion in that area to begin with. So then they'll get a girlfriend and then they'll turn to porn for sex advice. And basically they will just mimic whatever they see in porn. Again, they're not thinking of you as a person when they do this. They're thinking of, will she let me? Will she let me cross this line? And to them, they confuse that with emotional intimacy. They confuse that with love. They confuse that with your loyalty, with your dedication. And it's a very loaded, like...
slippery slope.
Yeah, it's a very slippery slope because then they start to talk like, if you loved me, you would do this or do this for my birthday, or like, why do I always have to beg you to do this? Don't you want to please me? Don't you want to see me happy? Meanwhile, ladies, I want you to remember, if he's ever given you an orgasm, we're going to come back to this over and over again on this podcast, because a lot of men demand things from women in bed and they don't even know how to please you. So don't fall for this, especially if on the other side of that, he doesn't know how to give you an orgasm 72 different ways. Okay. Don't fall for this. This is crazy. But he's like, oh, I want you to do anal. I want to do this. I want to do this on your face. I want to put it here. I want to put it there. The audacity is actually like literally astounding. And he doesn't even know where to find your clit. Like, wouldn't even know. He thinks it's connected to your thigh. That's what he's rubbing at. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. And these are the men that will be like, do a handstand for me. No.
Literally.
No.
That is so true.
Preach.
Because they see you as a means to an end. Like you're there for their pleasure. They don't care if you're pleasured or not. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Swing from the chandeliers.
Yeah. Suck it from the back. I still quote that, Sovereign. I cannot get over that.
The way Publica said it's from the bike. They say from the bike. Do it from the bike.
I can't wait to have him on.
I know. I can't wait.
All right, number 11, he pays for it, porn or sex. Yeah. So again, I know a lot of people will argue the ethical side of things, whatever. You can pay for porn ethically. You can get it ethically. That's fine. Chances are, if you are doing that, though, you are down that addiction rabbit hole. You're not a casual porn user. Like, right. I'm just saying, you can pay for it. You can get it ethically. That's all fine. What that says about you, though, is different. We can't quite normalize that. If women were doing this, like, women read romance novels and men go crazy, feral. They're like, what? These women are reading these romance novels. Women are just as bad as men with their porn. It's a book, right?
Yeah, right.
But meanwhile, men will be like, oh no, I paid, $72 for a woman to cut off her toenails and like stuff them into her panties and then like spit on it and then like mail it to me. Like, totally the same thing, bro. Totally the same thing.
But here's the thing.
So
a woman
weird.
can read a romance novel and then like roll over and go to sleep.
Exactly.
But a guy is like, he's watching porn and now I got to go out here and find a victim. I have to find someone in order to satisfy my urges. It's two totally different things.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Couldn't agree more. So 12, he says he uses it for stress relief. Like, I do martial arts and beat the shit out of the male-shaped dummy in my dojang when I'm stressed out. But, like, do you, I guess. Men have every other healthy outlet in the world to let out stress. And I feel like stress should not be, like, an excuse to just watch porn when gyms exist. Like, how many married or single mothers do you think are out there carrying an immense mental load and enduring enough stress to power the Texas grid, yet they still don't turn to porn? That's how I know it's such a cop-out for men, and we've just been coddling them.
Yes.
Using sex for stress relief is crazy. And I understand like the impulse to say that. And I understand that some people are like, no, like I use it. But like when that is your only way, or when you rely on that so much, you are not an emotionally mature person. Sex, first and foremost, like especially within the confines of a relationship, it's a more of an expression of how you already feel about each other rather than like you're creating something brand new with it. It's an overflow. And a lot of men don't see it that way. A lot of men see it as, no, let me use you as a whole. And I think that's terrible. They'd be like, oh, you can just lay there. I just need it.
That's horrible.
That's just...
I will be turned off by that.
There's so many ways to like handle stress, like, but your knee-jerk reaction is to turn to porn and look up big booty Latinas on the YouTube. Like, it's just...
Right. Like, go build something. You know,
literally
go to a war.
Like, there's just so many hobbies for men.
Go build a society.
Not go to war. Oh my God.
Not wrong though.
You won't be stressed. You'll be stressed about something else.
Go to war.
Because men were supposed to be laborers. They're supposed to be
Yeah.
building shit or like fighting things. Like they yearn for the fight clubs. Like,
sorry. Go to war is wild work. All right, number 13. He has become less interested in sex with you. Loss of sexual attraction to you. Usually, this is a symptom or manifestation of the Madonna whore complex. More often than not, this will present itself after childbirth.
Yeah, once men view you as like, you know, the mother of their child, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I don't want to do these nasty things to you. Or when men are like, no, like I actually respect you now, so I can't. Like, ew.
And that sounds like a good thing, or it could be a good thing, but it's not, because they usually just go out and find some woman of the night or whatever to like fulfill those fantasies. And that puts you at risk. It doesn't turn out to be a good thing, in my opinion.
It's also like you're just admitting that you flat out didn't respect me
beforehand.
Right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, does that mean that like before I had your kid, like that our sex was just a despicable act done to me and not with me, and not like it was only ever meant to like center your pleasure the whole time? Like, it just like there are things that like I would just be sitting there with thinking and overthinking, and like I don't think I'd be able to, like the relationship just would not be able to recover for me after that.
No, it wouldn't.
That would give me the ick so bad. Like, okay. Ew.
But I've heard so many women come forward with that story on Reddit, where after they've had kids, like their husband just loses all sexual attraction to them, and when they ask them why, they'll say something along the lines of like, just, you're the mother of my child now, so it's different. And that's it.
Can you imagine going through all of that for a man because you quote unquote love him, only for him to turn around and be like, oh, you had my baby even though I begged you for it, but now I don't even look at you the same anymore. Ugh. You know what I mean? Like, what the how hurtful is that?
It's terrible, but it's just, we see it all the time, unfortunately.
I know, it's unfortunate.
Number 14, he won't do shit for you or even himself unless he thinks he might get sex out of it. And this may be more indicative of like a sexual addiction than it is a porn one, but I think at this point it's just all one big circle of porn addiction and sex addiction.
I completely agree, and I think that's a man that should be left to his own devices. Like, let him just not do anything until that takes its natural course. I don't really know. That is so disturbing. That's so scary. Do not be around a man like that. Number 15, if you've ever approached him about his addiction, he has downplayed it, gotten defensive, crashed out, or called you a prude. They might even call you a kink shamer. It's not kink shaming, it's kink asking. Why? Gwen says, I'm actually pro kink shaming personally. I don't give a fuck. I think porn is an extension into reality itself, because some of the shit in categories really happens to the point where if you know a man watches barely legal or teen or incest porn, you're not going to trust him around your underage daughters, now would you?
Mm-hmm.
And we rest our case. Because, yeah, it does cross at a certain point. Like, I've read way too many, and these haunt me every night. Like, every day of my life, these stories haunt me of girls being like, I found some shit on my dad's phone, computer, whatever. And it's like, teen daughter, incest. I found this shit on my brother's search history. My family computer had the search history. Yo. Like,
it's dark.
That's not normal. That is not normal. That is not okay. You could never justify this shit to me. Like, imagine we have been battling against incest for centuries. All for these men to be like, nope, that's actually the thing we like the most.
I know.
It's actually one of our top like,
and it's just a fantasy, guys. Like, it's porn. It's not real life.
And it is real life. Tell me how it's not real life.
Exactly.
Seriously, like, ask anyone that is younger, whatever, ask any woman really, who was your sexual abuser? 1 out of 3 of them is going to say it was my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody I was related
to. Yeah. Somebody you trusted, yeah.
Yeah. So it is real life. It's not just a fantasy. It is very much real life, and it's very disturbing when we are able to connect those dots.
I remember I watched an episode, I think it was Forensic Files or something. Long story short, this woman had got remarried. She had a teenage daughter, and her husband fixed the other bathroom, which was the teenage daughter. I don't know. He had to allegedly put in a light fixture or something, but come to find out, he had put a hidden camera in her shower or whatever. I think that was the show. It was on one of those shows. Can you imagine finding that out, like as the daughter, but then also the wife finding out that? But it's very much real life. Like these guys do that. That would be very scary to go on a computer or to find out your dad or your uncle or your brother put cameras. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, what the?
Yeah, that's why I don't buy the whole like, oh, you're just king shaming. It's just a fantasy. It's not real life. You know, if you were really a good man, you wouldn't be talking like that.
Don't forget about the 75,000 men with their fantasies.
Yeah, and there's more. Like those were just the ones that got caught.
More. Yeah, absolutely.
It is always just ever the ones that get reported and get caught. But there are just millions and millions of groups out there just like this existing in social media.
In real life.
And And just like there are those accounts that exist, and they may or may not be bots, but like I don't think that some of these are bots. I do think some of these are like real people that exist, and they walk among us in human skin, just threatening rape and all these other heinous things to us. Like they're all too comfortable saying all this shit.
Not human skin.
I was going to say, and men are just they're too casual about this too, in light of the whole boss girl, sexually liberated, like whatever feminism, because like a lot of men will just come out in the open and tell you that they watch these heinous things and be like, but you can't judge me because you'll be king shaming. And it's like, no, you're just way too casual about what you feel like you're entitled to be able to watch on the internet. Like, I'm sorry, but at some point, what do we owe each other? Where do we draw the line? Like, what do we owe each other as men and women walking around? Because women at this point should just take that ball and start running with it too. I've talked about this before, but if your man is a huge porn addict, ask him why he doesn't behave like the guys in the porn. Ask him where's his stamina. Ask him where's his 8-inch dick. Ask him where's his like ability to stay hard or even get hard. Where are his abs? Where's all the seriously, ask him like why can't you produce?
Wait, finish that last one.
I did finish it. Where's all the cum? Where is it?
The money shot.
Where's the money shot? We get real uncomfortable. Men get really uncomfortable. And it's like, yeah, well, y'all are way too comfortable being like, you know, swing from a chandelier. Why aren't your boobs like this? Why are you so fat? Why is your I don't know. Ask men the same questions because they're way too comfortable being like, no, I'm entitled to this.
Also, the very fact that we have a slur for women that question men who watch porn, but we don't really have a slur for men who watch too much porn. Like,
exactly.
Does that not...
Gooner.
The match is not adding up. Yeah, maybe, but they're so proud of that.
Yeah, I guess.
So they had a what's called a goon rule for the guy who got busted for having his pants down and harassing women at this like it was like a place that serves food or coffee for but they wear bikinis and whatnot, and he just got in trouble. It was like this thing that circulated on Twitter. I didn't really
is that the guy who then killed himself afterwards?
Yeah, then after he got busted, he killed himself for it. And then the men who read about it had what's called a gooneral, not funeral, a gooneral for this man.
Like you can't even shame them. I'm so like they have no shame.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lisa. The women need to pull out their binoculars.
Yeah.
and act
not the binocular, the microscope.
Point it down at his junk and ask him, where is it? Where is it?
Why don't you go get a DDL or whatever, you know?
Get on some dick enlargement pills.
Right. Listen, if we got to be held to these weird standards, then so do you.
Let's equalize the playing field for once. That's real equality right there.
I'm going to make a playlist for the ladies just to even out the playing field because we got to start asking some questions for sure. We really do.
Is it 16? Mm-hmm. Okay. He is withdrawn from you, easily triggered or quick to start arguments that wear you down over time. Little to no emotional regulation. He's the first to be angry or overreact to trivial matters. Something just feels off. Beige flag, case-by-case basis approach with caution.
So this one I got from like a YouTube channel of this therapist who specializes in porn addiction. But I feel like as a woman and like kind of talking about this with like men aren't going to really listen. And so, but there were some things that she was saying about how like, you know, something feels off because they're starting fights with you for like over the littlest things. And they may or may not be trying to soft launch a breakup. Yes. Or like microdose breaking up with you because they had already like found somebody else to cheat on you with. And that's case by case. I'm not saying that every time that they have no emotional regulation or that they're fighting with you over the littlest things, that's what they're doing. But usually, like, if there's this sign with all these other signs that we've listed so far, like, there is a chance that he may or may not be seeing somebody on the side.
Well, there's also the chance that he's gotten so used to women being treated as objects in these videos that he's just annoyed that you're even there and you're not doing what the women in the porn videos are doing, right? He's just annoyed with you for like having other needs, other thoughts, other, you know, it's kind of like iPad kids, right? They get all cranky when you try to get them off the iPad or whatever. Like it's that kind of thing. Like they're used to a certain kind of thing and real life doesn't resemble that. So then they get dysregulated. I don't know, Sovereign, what are your thoughts on that when they become like distant and like withdrawn, or they are distant and withdrawn?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's just a sign that, to me, that they're either cheating or they want to. However they viewed you before has changed, and they're just disassociating from you just because you're not what they're used to watching porn. You're not that. Maybe they come to that realization, like, I'm stuck with this. This is not really what I want. You know, they just find a way to disassociate. And if this ever happens to you, ladies, it's not you. It doesn't have anything to do with you. These are their own demons that they are fighting. It has nothing to do with you at all. So don't take it personal.
I couldn't agree more.
I think we have time for one more. So finish us off, Gwen.
He talks about women who have hit the wall, or in terms of quote unquote breeding. He thinks women expire after the age of like 25 or 30 because the perfect age is actually when you're a teenager. Listen to the way he talks about celebrities that have aged past 40 or had children. He might say something along the lines of how women age like milk. Meanwhile, his male pattern baldness peaked a decade ago. All of this is how he will view you when you are no longer 20-something, just FYI.
Yep.
And men have absolutely the audacity with this. Like they have all the audacity. I remember vacationing with my mom and her friends, and her friends were like an older man that was married to a woman way out of his league, way younger, way prettier. She's always dolled up, always made up, whatever. And I remember he was walking like past me on the beach. Mind you, I'm like in my very early 20s. And he's like, oh, you look tan, like you've been getting some sun. And I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, your wife has definitely been getting more sun. Like she's got a couple shades on me or whatever. I'm like trying to play it off and be like, isn't your wife pretty or whatever?
Right.
And this man looks me dead in the eyes and he goes, oh, her? She's old.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Did she hear him?
No. And I was like, and I'm neurodivergent, so I don't like always censor myself. And sometimes I think that I'm saying things in like good fun, but I was like, well, what are you then? And I think he did not like that. He did not like it when I asked him what he was, because he's like 20 years older than her. So I was kind of like, well, what are you then, sir? And he was like huffing and puffing. And I was like, well, okay.
How was she old and he's 20 years? What?
That's what I'm saying. They're like, women hit the wall he was basically telling me my wife hit the wall. So now I'm looking at you. That's creepy, sir. You went on vacation in good faith, like pretending to be my mom's good friend. Like that's weird.
Wow.
That's super weird. Like I definitely wouldn't have gone if I knew he was going to do any of that. Like, I don't know. But I'm just saying they don't see themselves as part of the hitting the wall part. They'll be like, oh no, men age like fine wine. Everybody knows that.
Because they've been lied to.
Where? Show
and
me
it's just
one.
Because men are allowed to age.
Yeah.
They're simply allowed to just have wrinkles and
gray
hair and like saggy skin and like beer bellies.
Exactly. Yeah. We only say that women have aged well when they still look 20 years old and they're 50. Yeah. We never say, oh, wow, look at her. She aged so distinguished. Like her wrinkles are so deep. Wow. Right. She must have so much wisdom. Right. Her hair is so gray. She's been around for so long. What a blessing. We never say that about women. We're like, oh, terrible. She looks like an old hag. You need to dye your hair. You know, like your grays are offensive. Your wrinkles are offensive. But men age like fine wine. It's crazy.
But really they age like milk, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm. But it's okay. Yeah, exactly.
They start getting male pattern baldness in their 20s. Like, hello?
And not to mention, their sperm gets old. They're like, we can produce sperm forever. I love it. They're always going on and on. We can produce sperm forever, but it's like, but it's called geriatric sperm after a surgery. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's okay to get older. Like, stop. Like I always say, the only alternative to getting older is dying young.
Yes.
Which one do you want? Getting older is a privilege. Not everybody gets to do it. So,
Yeah. And men who view women like that, it's just like, it's one of the biggest red flags. Any man that ever talks about women hitting the wall or childbearing age or anything like that, it's a huge red flag. You are not cattle. You are not breeding stock. You are not like what, what are they talking about? That's crazy.
They are definitely red pill. If you want to be able to identify a red pill man, they say stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. They're in the Venn diagram.
Red pill men are your enemy. Sorry.
Like I came across this post of Margaret Robbie after she had like her pregnant belly out and she looked great. Mm-hmm. And another one with what was her face? Pamela Anderson. That's the one. And she also looked really great for her age. And all these men in the comments were like, hit the wall. Mm-hmm. She aged like milk, and like white women age like milk, and all these other like misogynistic things. And I'm just like, oh, that's because women only look good to you when they're like 15 or 16.
Exactly.
Because like anytime like there's a picture of a white woman and she's like a teenager, all the comments are very overwhelmingly positive, or they'll say things like breedable and things like, and it's really it's gross. It is so gross. And maybe like Twitter is just like on this like extreme end of like internet culture nowadays, but I see this and I really do think it reflects something deeper in our culture about the way that we kind of put youth on this like pedestal. And it's obscenely disgusting, and it's all too normalized in our culture to just think that women lose value after a certain age.
Remember when Barbie came out and Margot, they were like literally calling her mid. And I was like, if y'all don't stop, like y'all just doing that because y'all, apparently women were breaking up with their boyfriends after watching Barbie or whatever, which I'm like, so they blamed her, I guess. I don't know. Like, she's mid. And I'm like, she's not mid. And she's not mid. That's just their way of just trying to, like, you know what I mean?
No, like, absolutely.
Like they just do that. They'll call any woman that they can't get, because that's really what it's all about.
That's the secret.
Yep. If they can't have you, you're a whore, you ran through, you're mid,
you're fat,
you hit the wall.
You're old.
Somebody who will never, like, they'll never stand a snowball's chance in hell with you. Like, that's typically why they do that. Yeah. It's they're trying to protect their own egos or whatever.
And it's funny too because they use teenager as a compliment and as an insult interchangeably, right? So I have a lot of men that will be like, who let this teenager on TikTok? And then I'll be like, sir, I'm 33. And they'll be like, oh, you look your age. What?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Literally.
It's so interchangeable.
When the other one, when one doesn't work, they try to,
And it doesn't matter if it's
obvious.
The complete opposite. Like, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. They just say stuff because they get mad and they don't know how to control their big feelings. Like, that's what it is.
Their emotion.
They're so emotional.
The emotions that they swear they don't have.
Yeah.
They don't know how to control them.
Literally.
It's great. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the first part of this list. Unfortunately, we are only about half of the way through all the signs and symptoms of porn addiction in men. So we will see y'all next week for the continuation of this segment, and we'll see you after the break for our mailbag.
Okay, so for our mailbag, I'm 28, originally from Romania. Oh, welcome. And I've been living in the UK for about 8 years. I'm recently single, and as I reflect on my dating history, I've noticed a recurring pattern in my relationship that I really struggle to understand. I've had a few long-term relationships, 2 of 3 years each, and several shorter ones, a year or less. In every case, I've been the one to initiate the breakup, usually because of infidelity. However, that stands out to me is how incredibly difficult it is to break up with a guy. It seems like these men just refuse to let go, even when they're the ones who caused the damage in the first place.
I say this all the time. It's actually really hard to get rid of a man.
Yeah, it is.
It's so true, though. For example, my second serious relationship lasted almost 3 years, and during that time, he cheated on me constantly. Everyone around us knew, including me, but he gaslit me so intensely that I started questioning my own reality. I was only 21 when it ended, but it's still so vivid. I remember one incident when a woman and her boyfriend approached me to tell me how my partner had harassed her, begging her to sleep with him. When I confronted him, as usual, he cried, denied everything, and somehow managed to manipulate me into staying, even to the point where we ended up being intimate at my workplace like 5 minutes after I could.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay.
We see this we see this though. Like, this is literally the plot of He's Not That Into You. I'm so serious.
Yeah, it is.
This happens. Like, I don't know. Men try to normalize this all the time. I cheat on you because I love you.
Yeah.
When I finally had enough and tried to leave, he wouldn't accept it. He went as far as proposing to me, even though he had no intention of changing. It took me so long to get out of that relationship, just as it has with nearly every relationship I've been in. The lengths these men have gone to in order to keep me in their lives, despite their behavior, is truly baffling. I've faced harassment, stalking, endless calls, emails from unknown numbers, and unannounced visits, and even got my social media broken into by a guy. All of this after they cheated and I wanted to leave. What I can't wrap my head around is this. How can someone cheat, betray your trust, and then refuse to let go? They claim to love me, yet their actions say the complete opposite. So my question is, why is it so hard to get rid of these motherfuckers? Why do they cling on after they've sabotaged the relationship themselves? Thank you for taking the time to read this. Your insights and advice mean the world to me. I wish I had an answer.
I do. I got you right here. Men, a lot of times when they say love, they expect it to be a blanket statement, a very vague, undefined blanket statement, so that they can justify their abuse of you with the word love. The word love means nothing. I've been saying this to the girls on my channel for the past few weeks. Replace the word love with the word good partner. And nothing will make sense that these men do. I cheated on you, but I love you. You can't replace that with I cheated on you, but I'm a good partner. One of those two things kind of works, right? The other one does not.
Doesn't, yeah.
And so stop being a sucker. Love is something that most men will actually just use to manipulate you because they don't know the meaning of it. They don't know the meaning of sacrifice, selflessness, pain, endurance, anything. They want to be able to do whatever they want to do and have no consequences for it. That's why they use the word love, because it gets them out of consequences, as is very much demonstrated around every corner in this story. So you have to stop letting men fool you with the word love. Because around every corner in the story, it was, oh, but he still loves me. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. If he loved you, he would be a good partner. But he's not a good partner, therefore he doesn't love you. It doesn't matter if he loves you or not. Who cares? Love doesn't put food on the table. Love doesn't keep STDs out of your vagina, man. Love does nothing other than, for some men, justify how shitty they're able to treat you. Because they just want to do whatever they want to do. That's the simple truth.
I completely agree.
It is so true. A lot of the times though, whenever you just can't shake them, or like they try so hard to like stay with you, is because they were getting something out of this relationship,
exactly.
Whether you realize it or not. You were either paying their rent, you were paying their bills, you were like giving them some sort of support that they just cannot live without. So they're going to try very, very hard to convince you to let them stay and give them another chance until, you just learn to put your foot down and just enforce those. It's one thing to like have a boundary, but you just have to enforce it by just cutting them off. Cutting them off of your presence is enforcing a consequence. You just have to enforce the consequence.
And if you were not doing any of those things for him, and if you're one of those women that this has happened to, and you're like, but I didn't pay his bills, but I didn't do this, and he didn't live with me, and he didn't drive my car. The default is that a lot of men need to have sex with as many women as possible for their own ego, for validation. They need that validation. But men get rejected a lot. So when they get rejected, they always have you to come back to. So a lot of times, please don't be that woman. A lot of times they will keep you around as that second option, even though you may be a wife or you may be a girlfriend or whatever. It doesn't matter. They're still going to go out and cheat and do what they want to do. And one night, if they go after a girl and she rejects them, they know they can always come back to you.
God
and that's the number one reason why it's hard to get rid of them, because they may have cheated on you with, Sarah from accounting or, but Sarah but Sarah doesn't actually like him for real. Sarah doesn't actually want to be with him. Sarah used him or whatever. He feels rejected. He knows he always has you to come back to. And this happens a lot too with husbands that cheat. cheat. You know, they get married.
What the work was.
Yeah, they get married to make sure they have a constant supply of whatever they're looking for, but they'll still go out and do what they want.
Yeah, they need a main host. And that's
absolutely.
You.
Yep.
And that's why he's begging and begging and begging to stay. It doesn't matter, even if he did love you with the most sincerest of loves and he was still doing this, it wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't.
Because that's dangerous to you. It doesn't matter how much someone loves you. What matters at the end of the day is, are they putting you in danger? And the answer here is yes.
Absolutely.
It does not matter if they love you. But all of these actions just prove that they don't love you. And I'm telling you, men use the word love interchangeably for something else. It's not what you think it means. When women think of love, women think of sacrifice, endurance, forgiveness, working together, cooperation, all that. When men think of love, they think it's an excuse.
And be offended. Be very offended if a man is playing in your face, doing things to harm you, making you cry, making you depressed. And then he says, but I love you. Be offended because he thinks you're dumb. That's literally what it is. And it's not to say that you are. It's to say that he believes that about you. Men think in their mind, they can tell a woman what they want to hear. They can play in your face. And they know if they say, but I love you, baby, but I'm nothing without you, or whatever else, they know that you will fall for that. Don't be that dummy, please.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah, I like that you said that you should be offended. Like, we need to figure out a way to put that on some merch. If a man is... He thinks you're stupid. Like, he really does think you're stupid. He just knows what he can get away with, and he's trying to see if he can get away with it for the 100th time.
Yes.
Because you've let him the other 99 times you've let him.
And make no mistake, when they get around their friends, they are clowning you. They are clowning you. And they even give...
As a bartender can confirm.
Yeah, they even give each other tips. I mean, just tell her you love her and, tell her this and she'll do that. And they're like, oh, you okay, bro? That's what they do. Like, they sit around.
They brag.
They literally
like,
brag about
I got her trained.
It. Yeah, I got her trained. Yes, that's exactly what they say. So just let somebody else be that girl. Don't you be that girl.
Amen, Sovereign.
Another sermon from Sovereign.
I'm telling you, we got to start releasing these out on Sundays because
it's so funny.
It's been taking us to church.
I have my moments.
All right. I wanted to read the results of a poll real quick, too. Okay, so the question was, what would go the furthest in helping women achieve true liberation? The options were A, financial equality, B, destruction of systemic oppression, C, changing media and cultural narratives about women, or D, collective action and solidarity. I think Sovereign and I had the same answer. We chose the answer D, the option D, collective action and solidarity. When we say that, we're talking about intersectionality and just women getting on board with each other as women, because I really do feel like that's the first step. We're not even past that.
I agree.
We're not past that yet, unfortunately. But the winner was destruction of systemic oppression, which, it was a hard choice this week. It's a very loaded question, but we want to thank y'all for participating, and sometimes they're just harder than others. And the same answer won on Spotify as well. So we are very united on destruction of systemic oppression as going the furthest in helping women achieve true liberation. Thanks for participating in the polls, y'all. We really love all of the bustling activity that's happening in our Patreon community. Please continue to join if you listen and you haven't joined yet, which I know there's a lot of you. Please join. It's actually really fun, and we try to put as much stuff out there as possible, including lists and notes that we use to talk about on the show. We have VIP blogs. We have weekly preview blogs of our next upcoming episodes. We have film and TV recommendations. We have a misogyny support thread. It's popping in there. I'm telling y'all, get in there. It's very, very fun. So hopefully we'll see more of you in there, and please rate, review, share the show, add us to your Spotify playlist, because that helps us get further along in the algorithm. Just do whatever you can. Share with your friends, tell a friend, and we will be eternally indebted to you. Appreciate y'all so much, and we'll see y'all next week for part 2.
Bye.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.